but we should be live. So, hello everyone and happy Thursday. I have to think about what day it is because this launch has been pushed back so many times, but for good reason.
Right.
Today is the best day of weather since I've been down here since Monday. You've been down here for over a week now.
Yep.
And this is gearing up to be a great day for the seventh launch of Starship. So we're getting very excited. There's been a slight delay. Now they're targeting 4:37 p.m. Central Time. So just a little delayed, a little
Right.
over half an hour. But they do have a 60-minute launch window, and they've had shorter launch windows in the past.
That is
So
true.
we're thinking they'll be able to pull it off, but I wanted to, first and foremost, as we have some time now, to introduce you to, of course, Joe Tegmeyer,
Hey,
who's
everybody.
been my co-host since the first launch. We have both only missed the launch where they caught the booster.
Exactly.
So today I am crossing both fingers and toes and everything that they catch the booster today. And I think that we have a pretty good shot, including all of the upgrades that have taken place in between 6 and 7. By the way, behind me, we have the lovely Scott Balcom. He is the reason why this live stream looks hopefully so much better today. So let us know in the comments what you think of this, and hopefully they're able to see if we can pull up one of the cameras and show them maybe the wide shot here. So we have wide shots today, we have tight shots, and we should have some picture-in-picture for you so that you can see every single angle of the Starship
Right.
that we can offer today.
And we'll have some pretty good sound, so you'll be able to hear it as well.
Absolutely. And so, of course, we are also here on the roof of Margaritaville, which has been very gracious to let us stream up here once again. We love this vantage point, and Margaritaville has been a great place to stay. I see people all the time in here that say they're staying because they saw it on Alien
Right.
Space. So thank you for coming here.
Well, I would say if you're going to come here, Margaritaville is kind of the ground central for all the space nerds, space people that are interested in what's going on. I mean, last time we were here, you met with the Congressman Kevin
Kiley. That's right.
And we talked a lot about what was going on with that particular flight and some of the work that he was doing in Congress to help maybe reform the FAA and maybe speed them along with the approvals as well. So all that happens here at Margaritaville.
And it looks like a lot of that pressure worked out.
It seems like it.
Because Starship Flight 5 launched way sooner than they had projected and that the FAA said that they could. So things were turned around on us, but we're glad because that was such a magical day, October 13th. Mm-hmm. And so here we are on January 16th. We thought it might go January 13th, maybe, but we've had some delays. And of course, New Glenn had some delays as well. We both stayed up to watch that.
Exactly. Hopefully you guys got a chance to see that. It was an amazing launch.
It was amazing. Of course, they lost the booster, so they'll have to try again next time. But they were able to reach orbit, which was really awesome.
Right. For the first time, no, rare, especially for the very first launch of anything new, to have that success. And, you know, they did lose the booster, whether it was just the relay or something else. But just as a reminder, other than SpaceX and now Blue Origin, nobody else is even trying. Every other booster just goes into the water. So I think that's still an amazing success. And I know that they've got a lot of data that they're going to be using to refine that and then try again, probably in the spring is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. And theirs is called, so you're saying there's a chance, right?
It was, so you say there's a chance, and sadly there was very little chance. But, you know.
I love these names. Of course, I still love you. Just read the instructions.
That's one of the cool things I think about the whole commercial space is they have a lot of fun.
Yes.
You know, last launch, we launched a banana. This time it's got the Mechzilla with chopsticks themselves on the side of the ship.
That's some of the fun is the different decals that SpaceX, has used. And one thing that we should mention, actually, we should talk about all of the objectives for Flight 7. There are many, but they are going to be reusing a Raptor engine for the first time.
Exactly.
And that is a crucial, step in full reusability. So that's very exciting. It's speculated that it is Raptor 314.
The pie Raptor.
With a little slice of pie. And so that's just one of many changes and upgrades and things that they're going to be doing on this flight. Yep. They're also going to have over 30 cameras on Starship. So we should see as many views as you could ever want.
You know what I would say is the 30 on the ship is going to be awesome, but I'm really interested in one we haven't really heard anything official of, and that is maybe, if we're lucky, I don't know, I'd like to see a camera on one of the dummy Starlinks, and then we get a drone view of the Starship And hopefully the lighting will work out. It's going to be on the sort of the dark side of the Earth during that time, but if we can get some lighting, I think it'd be great just to see Starship with the backdrop of Earth, but from a distance away.
Absolutely. Do you think they're going to do it?
It's SpaceX. Why not?
Yeah. If they can, they probably will.
Well, as somebody just reminded me of, is during the solar eclipse last year, SpaceX showed an image of solar eclipse from one of the Starlink satellites. So they at least show that they have that capability, which is amazing.
Which, by the way, I just want to check in. It looks like we have very low signal. So can you guys let us know how the video is looking? We have several high-powered cameras up here. We are using Starlink, and it looks like it has pretty low signal. So I just want to be sure that, oh, it's on Joe Tegmeyer's Starlink.
Oh, okay.
Should I switch it?
Can you switch it without losing it?
No. Let us know. Image grainy, it says.
Yeah. Well, tell you what. If you want, we can reset and try it with your other one, or we can try it right now to see if we can switch over.
You guys bear with us. Worth it. So we'll keep talking. It's just going to freeze for a second here, and it should reset us here momentarily. And now here, so we have reset. We are on my Starlink, which is not the Starlink Mini. So please let us know how the picture is. Luckily, with the short delay, we have more time to troubleshoot. Right. And I am not on my iPhone for the first time ever. Yep. And so we have really great cameras, and I want you guys to be able to see everything in high definition. So let's just.
So in the comments, if you can, tell us know what you are seeing and if it's coming off okay.
Looks about 240p.
Oh, really?
Well, that is.
Well, that's not great.
Terrible. Where is the Starlink?
It's right over there.
Well, it's there shouldn't be any obstructions really. Image is very blurry. Okay, you guys. I mean, we could always pull in SpaceX when it launches if we need to. Dropping frames. Okay, well, we... 10 minutes ago. Okay, looks great now. It's clearing up a bit. Well, I don't know what happened, but it may have some in and out. And is there any way that we could have the comments in front of me so I can read them? Is that what you're doing? Okay, great. Sorry, guys. Of course, there are a lot of changes for this stream, and so we are kind of troubleshooting as we go live here. But we do have time to get everything working well. But I'm very excited for today's launch, and hopefully, even with some pixelation, the camera setup is much better than what I've had with the phone.
I hope so. And we do have 2 Starlinks trying to give you the best signal as possible, so hopefully it'll work out.
We're doing our best, which if this doesn't work, we may need to find a way to get Starlink business or something. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what the fix is, because I can tell you it is not the camera quality. So it is a very frustrating thing down here. Sometimes the service is tough, and even with Starlink, apparently it is not that good. But we have David watching from Notting Hill, London. We have Richard saying the waves look good. Happy seaside scenery. John, thank you for saying I look beautiful today. What about you?
What about
I didn't
me?
hear a compliment.
Chopped liver today. Great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But you know, you can't really see off camera right now, but the Coast Guard helicopters flying quite low over the Channel Inlet and also over the beach. They're just trying to make sure that the exclusion zone is all clear. And hopefully we don't have a problem like we did with the New Glenn last night.
And check this out, guys. This is, yes, part of my feed. You can see the helicopter. So this is just one of many cameras that we have, and it's pretty amazing.
It is.
The village that we've built for Ellie in space,
Exactly.
that we built. I am just blown away by how generous and helpful people are. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. We have Cindy watching from Australia. What's the temperature or wind chill? I think it's only about 61 degrees or so.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad.
Much better today. Oh my gosh.
If you saw either Ellie's or my little video yesterday over from the Starbase area, tried to show you what it was like. It was really cold. It was really windy, and we couldn't see anything. Today, from our distance on Margaritaville, we're about 6 miles away from the launch site, and I can see the orbital launch pad. I can see the mount. I can see the ship, and I can see the tank farm quite easily just with my eyes. So it's a very nice visibility.
It is a near perfect day to launch here. There's always going to be a little bit of wind down here on South Padre Island, but it is great weather, and we're not exactly sure why they've had a slight delay, but they'll still have 23 minutes
Correct.
of that launch window to make it happen, and they've made a Starship launch happen in less time than that. So I'm still very optimistic today.
Yeah, I think they missed an opportunity. They could have gone 420.
Well, I have no idea
but they
why.
didn't.
And so we see we have people watching all over the place. Alan asked, more cameras. Are you growing your team? Actually, Scott was very gracious to offer his services, and he's moving out of the state. So just when I found an incredible help, that help is going to be leaving. So if you like what you see, I will be looking into some upgrades, but this is certainly much better than the iPhone and much more complex and more expensive. Yeah. So it is a little bit frustrating when Starlink is not,
Hey, there's something cool. I don't know if we could show it on camera, but all of the boats that take people out for viewing are heading out onto the channel. And it's probably one of the closest places that you can watch.
There we go.
And you can actually get a rental on the boats and go out and watch the launch from the water. It's actually pretty cool perspective. So it looks like that flotilla is on its way out right now.
And it looks like the stream is freezing. So, looks like it's a little frozen. Okay, maybe it's. Oh wow! Well, it looks really cool over there. On your iPad, it's frozen, but now it's not. Okay.
All right, but there's a great view on the camera of those boats that are going out. It's just one of the unique things about watching launches from here.
Yeah, and we have Michael Maxey watching from Houston, Texas. Okay. We have Ignacio watching from Argentina. Hola, Ignacio. Anthony Love from the UK. Ellie, your team is the best. I can't believe I have a team. This is not an official team. These are just gracious people that want to help me. And so everyone, please make sure to check out their channels. Joe Tagmeyer, of course, you've been with me every single launch. And Scott Balcom, who is running the camera there in the distance.
Actually, that's a pretty neat shot. If you see where Scott is right now, those cameras are going to hopefully give us a great view from the ignition all the way up to the hot staging and back for the catch. And if everything goes well, the images are going to be quite stunning.
Yeah, and people are asking, what is the current T0? So you have that up on your iPad. Maybe you can give us a look there.
123.
It's scheduled for 4:37.
Yep. 4:37 right now, and it still seems like it's tracking that way. That does give us about a 23-minute slip to be within the window, which closes at 5 o'clock Central Time, which would be 2300 UTC.
Wow, and a very, very cool image we have of all of the people going out by boat. Please make sure to share this stream. Please, if you're enjoying the stream, consider super chatting. This is my full-time job, and it's my full-time job.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say. So thank you guys.
We're about 8 minutes away from the first big milestone. At 1 hour and 15 minutes, the flight director does the poll, and that's the go, no go to start doing the propellant loading. And then if they give the go, then around, I think it's 45 minutes or so, we'll start seeing the propellant loading, at least the liquid oxygen, starting up.
Yep, and I just realized probably don't need to hold it so close to my face.
Sorry. Okay.
It is still cold enough for my nose to run. But let's see, Ignacio says quality of stream is good. So that's good. It looks a little bit pixelated for me, so hopefully it's not pixelated for you. But, that's part of the reason that we've been on the roof, because, it's way too congested down at Isla Blanca Park. There's hundreds of people, but perhaps it's still a struggle up here.
Yeah, well, we also have a lot of people here for the launch, and many of them use Starlinks. I don't know, but maybe it's just a lot of them using the signal at the same time.
Right. And so let's get into some of the, things that we haven't mentioned today. This is, of course, the debut of Starship V2. So we're done with version 1,
right,
on to version 2, and that's just exciting in itself.
It is, it is.
But with that, we have several changes, including, as we mentioned earlier, over 30 cameras on the ship. There's been some changes to the flaps.
Yes.
And so they've shrunken in size.
Right. Well, they shrank them in overall size. They've moved them higher up on the nose and more to the leeward side, or away from the heat shield side, if you will, the side where the plasma is going to be. And they did that for a couple of reasons. The biggest one is aerodynamically. The previous design was creating some aerodynamic loads, which gave a moment on the ship, which basically was trying to tip the nose up all the time. And that was kind of making it more difficult to control, because the heavy engines, especially with no payload right now with the prototypes, they kept wanting to make the ship's tail down. So the ship kept wanting to tilt like this. So that not only is not very efficient aerodynamically, but it also helped to increase the loading and the heating on the ship. And with the previous design, the kind of the body to flap interfaces were really way out into that windward side and the plasma. And we saw what was happening is they were just getting overheated. The flap to the body kind of seals were being overloaded as well. And so despite changes with the heat shield and trying to do the best they can with that particular design, it really was not optimum. So this one is going to solve both of those problems,
Right.
because the body to flap fairings are much smaller. They're out of the wind flow, and then you're going to see that those flaps are completely retracted. And when you do that, it's going to almost completely eliminate that moment arm that we were talking about that was happening from the ship, and that's going to help with its controllability as well.
All right. And in my interview with Elon in June of last year, he was talking about that change that was going to be made. So we're going to see that here with V2 of Starship. So that's exciting. There, and that also increased the propellant load, right?
That didn't itself, but what they did do is,
yeah,
they added one more ring, about 1.8 meters or about 6 feet to the height. So technically, the ship that we see in the full stack right now is the largest rocket ever made. It actually eclipsed all the other previous Starships. And they also did some reconfiguration inside, which changed the volume of the tanks. The methane tank's about 33% bigger. The oxygen tank's about 25% bigger. They also use different common bulkheads, different shape, more easy to manufacture, less of the parts, so less is more. But it also helps to take better use of that volumetric space within the ship. And this is first step, or a step along the way, where we're going to see the ship grow in length for the version 3.
Right.
And that's going to allow it to have more propellant, more of the payload capacity, and to try to get that maximum amount of tonnage up into low Earth orbit, get hopefully when we get the refilling going on, and then off to the moon or Mars or wherever else.
To the moon.
Yeah.
And by the way, Benjamin, thank you for the first super chat of the live stream, $20. You guys, those super chats really go a long way. And especially if you want me to upgrade my equipment, I will need to do that. And so I do appreciate the super chats. These are kind of the Super Bowls for my channel.
Yep.
And so the Starship launches really help keep the channel going into the new year. But it's already going to be a very exciting year for space. Of course, it's crazy to think that New Glenn and Starship likely will be launching less than 24 hours from each other.
Yeah. Well, not only that, over the last 48 hours, what did we do? We launched 131 satellites with the Transporter 12 mission. Then on that, right after that, we launched 2 lunar landers, the Firefly Blue Ghost, and also the Outspace Akuta. That's on the way. We launched New Glenn last night for the very first time. And like you say, just a few hours later, we're going to be doing Starship Flight 7. So this is just an example of what we're going to be seeing more and more through this year, and hopefully more into the future.
Some people are still saying that the picture quality is a little rough, and I'm not really sure what to do about that.
I don't know.
The Starlink is supposed to be really good, but perhaps it's still congested. I'm not exactly sure, guys, but we put a lot of effort into this one, so I'm sorry if it's not perfect quality, but we're doing our best. Daryl, hello from London, England. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for the super chat, and we appreciate you watching here on this gorgeous day, I might add, down here. And what else are they doing? So they're reusing a Raptor engine for the first time.
They are.
And then they also have those catch pins on the ship.
Yeah, they're...
Is it the first step into, eventually catching the ship?
Exactly. Well, on the last flight, we saw that they took a lot of the heat shields off the sides.
Yes.
And during re-entry, we saw there was a little bit of heating issues. But so hopefully they're going to address that. But the reason why they did that is ultimately, like we saw with the booster coming back, and hopefully you're going to see that today, is when it gets to the catch arms, they kind of slide up the side and then do the catch pins. And they want to do the same thing with the ship. So for today, not only do they have some of the heat shields off the side, but they have these non-structural pins. They look similar, not identical to what you see on the booster, but they would be in the same place. And if it were to be caught, that's what they're going to try to do. For today's test, since they are non-structural, they just want to test and see how do they survive throughout the re-entry. They do have some tiles on them. Is that enough? Is this design going to work? What do they need to do to modify it? Interestingly enough, yesterday while we were showing you how bad the conditions were here, we got a chance to see Ship 34 going out to Massey's for its cryo testing. And I was looking up there and I didn't see any of the catch pins that you would expect. So it makes me wonder a little bit about the next flight. Are they going to catch the ship or not? Is it really ready? Maybe it'll be the next one after that. But the other thing what's interesting about Ship 34 going out is it didn't have the aft flaps on. It was kind of missing some parts.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe they want to get the data from this one to decide what they're going to do fully on Ship 34.
And of course, for Flight 7 today, we have Ship 33 and
Right.
Booster 14. And another thing we haven't mentioned yet is that they're going to be doing the payload deployment tests
Yes.
of the Starlink mass simulators, the dummy Starlink satellites, similar size and weight, but obviously not real Starlink satellite, but that will be a very interesting test.
Yes, and also they're going to be basically deployed and follow the ship back into the atmosphere, so they're not going to go to orbit. They're not going to be up there very long. It's just basically to test that PEZ dispenser, the door, and the whole process of trying to get the Starlinks out. So, but it should be a great test. This is building on what they've done before. They did try on an earlier one to open up the door. They had some issues with that. I think it was a little bit of the mechanism, but it's also there was some excess pressure inside the ship, and I think that worked in that. So we're going to see, did they solve that issue, and does this all work? And
right.
And like I mentioned, I hope there's a camera on one so we get a drone shot.
And it was the last flight that they did a Raptor relight, correct?
They did,
and
yes.
They're going to be doing that again on this one.
Right. This was going to be very short, maybe a second or so. It's to demonstrate that they can do it,
Right.
but the ship's on a free return on purpose, and if all goes well, maybe this will be the last time it has a free return. It'll be in orbit next time.
Wow. Which that was kind of a hot topic last night of like, oh, Blue Origin, New Glenn beat Starship to orbit, blah, blah, blah. And, I made a video saying it's not really comparing apples to apples here. Right. There's different goals, different objectives, and I feel like it's also silly to leave Falcon Heavy and Falcon 9 out of the picture.
Yeah.
They're different achievements, and it's great that they were able to reach orbit, but this is not to undermine what Starship has already done.
No, I agree with you. Everything has to be based on what is the mission objectives, what are you trying to achieve, what is the purpose of the hardware that you're building. And, New Glenn and Starship have completely different purposes. New Glenn is more or less focused on trying to build a low Earth orbit, maybe a medium Earth orbit economy, whereas Starship is primarily designed to try to get us to Mars and take a lot of stuff to Mars, and along the way probably taking some stuff to the moon and maybe doing some Starlinks. That's going to be a big role for it as well.
We've had way more super chats. My iPad is frozen, so let me read some of those from you guys.
Sorry about that. The technology is great when it works.
We're doing our best, but it's so great to see that there are people super chatting. We have Michael Maxey, a member for 25 months, saying that the FAA has requested a mishap investigation for the loss of Blue Origin booster. That's not surprising. We have Benjamin, as I mentioned earlier, thank you for your super chat. Daryl from London as well tuning in. We have Mr. Moonbound. Hello from Holiday Inn Cyber Beach crew. Hello to you. And thank you for the super chat. Glad that you're here in person. We have Dan Weinstein with a generous $20 super chat. Dan, thank you for watching. Ford man Mark, gas money for the sheriff. I drive electric, but I do appreciate it. That will definitely help for the road snacks. And we have Curtis Biggs, $20 super chat. Thank you, Curtis. We're so glad that you could join us today for what should be an amazing day. Joe, thank you for the $50 super chat. OLM venting in progress. That's right. And hopefully you have a great picture from our cameras here on the roof of Margaritaville. Richard, thank you. Superior coverage. Cheers. We're glad that you enjoy it. It can always be a little bit of a struggle up here, but we are doing our best with the service provided by Starlink, which, yep.
Yeah, well, and, as I just mentioned, prop loading is starting to begin, or at least they're getting really close to that. We've passed that 1 hour 15 milestone. So,
which only takes about, 45 minutes?
Around 40-ish minutes. They're getting faster and faster.
Just insane to think about. That was wonderful.
We're talking over 5,000 tons of cryogenics being put up in 40 minutes or so.
And so that's one of the other sort of differences about, Blue Origin and SpaceX. Blue Origin, took 4 hours?
Well, they started at about the 4 hour point, but I think that they get it done and then they do a replenishment over time. But they are out at Cape Canaveral, so they have more facilities, more of the capability of doing a lot of the replenishment than it is here at Starbase. It's actually one of the pressing reasons why they decided not to fly yesterday, or at least try to get close to flying yesterday and then calling it early. And that is because when they load the cryogenics on the Starship here, they usually lose about 20% of it during the whole process. And then they need to bring the tanker trucks in to replenish that. And many of them come from Houston that are bringing in some of the methane.
And not close.
No. So it's a huge logistics trail, and it takes a lot of time. So I think that they really wanted to go today. So that's why they made that call. But over at Cape Canaveral, a lot more of the infrastructure is really, really close.
So any updates from SpaceX right now?
Not yet. Their live stream, I think, is going to go at about 35 minutes before. So right at about 4 o'clock, we should see that coming on. Then we'll start getting some of their views. But fortunately, with our camera crew this time, we'll probably have some pretty nice views as well.
I just hope that they're able to see it, which, by the way, Scott, off camera, we will have that recorded so that I can, even if the stream's pixelated, I'll be able to give you guys what we're seeing here in the replay. And so don't worry. We will have great video for you guys and a different vantage point from up here at Margaritaville. So hopefully the stream isn't too pixelated, but we're doing our best.
Yeah.
And so we are still a little over an hour to the launch window opening up. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a few more things about the ship that we could talk about. Okay. We talked about the flaps, and we mentioned a little bit about the heat shields. But one of the big things that they're going to do for this flight is some significant testing with the heat shields. And they've got some new different designs of some of the heat shields. They have under the heat shield ablative layer.
A backup layer.
Right, it's a backup layer. And that's in case they were to lose a tile or so. And that would help protect the ship. It wouldn't be completely rapid reusable, but Elon came out pretty recently. He said that their goal is to be as close to rapidly reusable as they possibly can with that heat shield. There's a few other things that they're trying. They're trying some metallic tiles, and fortunately, we don't have a lot of details exactly what that means, but those are pretty interesting. There's been a number of tiles that are intentionally not placed, and that is to get some more data about what's happening with the performance of the heat shield and that ablative layer. And then one of the more interesting things is that at least one of the tiles has got something called active cooling on it. And that's something that Stoke Space is trying to do with their ship coming in. And it's something that SpaceX has talked about in the past, kind of moved away from it, but now they're looking back at that. So that's very interesting.
Tell us what exactly that active cooling means, or what you think it means.
Well, we don't have a lot of the exact details, but it could be a variety of things. First of all, it's using something that's cold, probably cryogenics, maybe the oxygen or one of the systems that they have on the ship. to flow it either through or around, or maybe in an open loop where it's kind of perspirating out of the tile itself. But it's a way for it to try to take that heat load and move it away. So it could be internal channels. We've seen that with rocket engines, where you see some of the liquid propellant going through the nozzles and then coming back up and then being used for the rocket itself. That helps cool the nozzle. So that's basically a little tube. So it could be like that, or they could take some fluid in and then have little tiny holes along the top of it. And then that, as it comes off of the tile, it takes the heat away. So it could be one of those methods. I also think that this is not going to be something that they're going to replace all of the heat shield tiles with, but it may be used in selective parts of the ship that they find that maybe the tiles are too brittle, or they just too difficult to put on there, or they need an additional layer of cooling. And so they may have a variety of these different kind of ways of mitigating the heat throughout the ship. But they're testing all of that. And one of the tests that they're doing is they're intentionally going to bring the ship in at a pretty high angle again and put it into a much more stressed environment to basically put the ship to its test. And that is not only going to do a lot of structural loads on it to see how it performs, but it's also going to change the heat profile, the heat flux. So I think they're going to be doing all of this testing, and a lot of great data that they're going to get out of that. And the only other thing that I would say is that because of all this, it's still not guaranteed the ship's going to make it all the way through, because what they're attempting to see what the ship can do under all kinds of adverse conditions. I hope that it will.
So obviously, here on the island, we would love to see the booster caught again. But what do you think that SpaceX wants to see for a perfect, ship reentry?
I think they want to obviously just get a lot of data. They're going to be testing the ship with all these different configurations. But I think that they also want to really get good feel for how the ship is controlled with the new flap design on the nose, because it's changed the aerodynamics, it's changed the relationship between the center of pressure and the center of gravity on the Starship itself, and its controllability throughout the entire regime. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see, are they going to change the reentry profile to some extent? On the previous ones, we've seen that it tends to get about 65 or 70 kilometers and then kind of hover there for a while as it's trying to maximize its time through the atmosphere and bleed off a lot of that energy higher up. And, so that could be it too. And then, of course, I really think that they want to demonstrate one more time with this design, since it's new, that they can pinpoint land in a specific place, because if they can do that, then I think they have enough confidence to maybe try to catch.
Right. And what was that off screen?
Go for prop load. That is awesome. So that would put us somewhere around 45 or so minutes away. Is that about accurate?
We're still at about an
hour. Okay, so
still at about an hour.
We're just a little bit early. So they could be trying to get it done early and then have the ship ready to go as soon as possible. There is a hold capability built into the Starship, very much like we saw with the New Glenn last night. So there's nothing to say that SpaceX may not want to just get that ready and then make sure that the ship is ready to go so that we get to that T0 and they can launch right on time. Of course, that's close to the end of the window. It's about only 23 minutes later from the takeoff time right now. So they want to just make sure that the ship can go before they run out of this launch window. So.
Oh, so Joe, check out what's on our camera.
Oh, here. Very cool. So it looks like we're looking at the essentially the old rocket garden, and then we see two of the ships and the booster. I believe that booster is booster 12. They had moved it into the Mega Bay for some work. Actually, when I got here, I saw that being happening, and it looks like they moved it back out.
What are they going to do with it?
That's a very good question. Some people think that they might scrap it.
No. They can't.
Yeah, well, it's a really great memento, but it's gigantic.
No,
so what do you do?
Please.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some rumors that is what the goal is that they will try to prep it for display.
Oh,
so
that would be amazing.
Yep, it won't be flying again or anything, but yeah,
they have to keep it.
I know, just like ship our SN-15, right?
I really hope that it does not get scrapped.
Yeah.
And it would be great if they could put it in the public somewhere, you know. you know,
Well, they
they'll
have
have that
mentioned,
aft flap at the airport.
yeah, that's true. They have mentioned that they want to do a more accessible Rocket Garden 2 for the public at some point. So maybe that'll play that role. So I would like to see them keep it just because it's so historic.
Yeah, no, it's majorly. They should keep engine 314 as well.
Well, you know, 314
I'll
is,
take it.
yeah. Well, it's going to fly again today, and if it comes back, maybe they'll use it again.
They should.
You know,
They
ultimately,
should.
the goal is all of them being used over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah. But man, that would be such a shame to scrap it. But
Yeah.
that is very cool that we see that.
All right,
And
we
now
got a
we're
tower
back.
vent going over on the main tower itself. Great shot of the full stack as well.
We have a question: will there be merch for sale again? Yes, there
Yes,
will
there will
be. At some point. Monday. Okay. We're working on creating a store that's open all the time instead of just these t-shirt runs that are about, 2 weeks of collecting orders. So we are working on that. Ellie in Space is an evolving process and channel here.
Yeah.
So
well, that's actually kind of an interesting question is, we're going to have this cadence coming up and there's going to be lots and lots and lots of launches. So it's going to kind of move away from the unique for, hey, it's Flight 7
Right.
to, maybe more generic. I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I still don't think that they're going to hit that crazy goal of, certainly not 25 this year. I'm not even sure if they're going to make a launch every month.
I think 10 is a stretch goal for this year for a couple of reasons. One, it's just the hardware that they got to build. They are building a lot of ships right now. They do have a few boosters, but, they just need to have a lot more of that if they're going to do 10. The other thing is that although the FAA is considering the request for the 25 per year, that is not finished yet. They just completed the public commentary period of that, so they've got that data. I would expect probably late spring when maybe we get the new environmental come out and the new rules. And if that's the case, then they will be able to do up to 25, but it certainly wouldn't be for 2025. But I do know that from SpaceX's point of view, they would like to launch as much as possible to get all the data to develop whatever the prototypes that they need to, and also prepare for some pretty big things that they haven't done yet. Ship catch, reuse of booster and ship, in-flight refilling, an orbital depot, and a variety of other things that they need to demonstrate over the next year or two.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to accomplish.
And of course, new tower here.
Yep.
They're building another tower and the launch mount out at Cape Canaveral, the whole Roberts Road facilities. So
when do we think that's going to be operational?
I'm going to say probably at least 2026. I know that they're going to do a lot of work to prepare it, but getting the tower, the launch mount, all that set up is one thing. Getting the facility there set up is another thing. But to actually have ships that are ready to fly.
Yeah, I know that Elon said in the past that he wants to have, the Cape for Starship operations, Boca Chica for R&D. But how long do you think that will even be the case?
As far as,
do you think that they'll always have a presence here?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think it's going to continue to evolve. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's already evolved a lot.
Yes. Well, we're looking across the channel over to the orbital launch site right now, and when they started this, and surprisingly just about 10 years ago, 2014, it was all for Falcon launches, and that has significantly changed.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I do remember that. Let's see if we have any more comments in the chat here. Good morning, Australia, checking in. Marvin, thank you for checking in. I see you often on the channel, and I do appreciate it. Needy Tornellini says, congrats on being the sheriff of Cyber Beach. I actually think that went to Tesla Tino, so I do not think I am the sheriff, but
I'm the mayor, though.
He is the mayor. Thank you, CMFD218, for the $20 super chat. Appreciate your coverage. Your exuberance is contagious. Looking forward to the launch. Thank you. I am looking forward to the launch too. Science Pro wants to know, how long before the launch? We are just about an hour away.
Just under an hour.
They are scheduled for 4:37 Central Time. It was supposed to be at 4. We've had a bit of a delay. We're not exactly sure why.
Yeah, well, if you look on the screen, we have a Coast Guard helicopter going back out. They've been doing a lot of sweeps over the beach, over the water, through the channel, trying to make sure that the restricted zones are clear And for the launch, there's a pretty large restricted zone that extends out into the Gulf along the route of flight and over towards where we would expect the hot staging to take place, and then all the way back. Also, hopefully we don't get the word on an offshore divert, but it's all covering those areas. So they want to make sure that there's no boats or anything else, any hazards out in that direction. And of course, the Starship has its own set of restricted areas, or set aside, and that's over kind of starting around Madagascar and then proceeding across the ocean to the sort of northwest side of Australia, where we expect the splashdown to occur.
So Marcus House can go retrieve the
Exactly. Speaking of which, SpaceX really does want to try to recover a Starship, and they do have assets that are out in that area to hopefully do that. We saw after the last flight, they did recover some parts of the ship, a lot of COPVs, some other parts, maybe some heat shield tiles. There's also a NASA asset that's flying out there specifically for this flight. So I think they really do want to try to recover the ship, not to reuse the parts, but just to learn a lot more.
Right, of course. And we still have people walking in along the beach. I see behind us, there's a lot of people still making their way to Isla Blanca Park, the beach where hundreds of people gathered. Last time the traffic on the causeway was so backed up, it took people more than 3 hours to get out of their parking spot. And so hopefully, I don't think it'll be as bad this time. I will say last launch was the busiest I've ever seen it.
It was incredible.
I don't think it's not even like, gosh, a third of what I saw. At
Yeah,
least.
it's
A lot of people had to leave for work, for running out of medication even. So, unfortunately, I feel bad for the people that camped out here for a week and weren't able to stay, but it's always a moving target and a little bit of a game of red light, green light.
Yeah, well, and also just with the prototypes, it's just really hard to know for sure, but one would think that as we get further into the program, it's going to become even more reliable, and hopefully we'll be able to concentrate. Now, with all that being said, although SpaceX did do some hardware technical issues on the ship, the bulk of this was Mother Nature, and we just can't solve that.
That's true.
I've had some people ask, well, why can't they launch if it's just cloudy or a little bit of rain
or wind,
or some wind, and eventually there's going to be larger limits that they will be able to accept. But right now we are in a prototype development stage. The ship is completely brand new. Even though it looks a little bit like the previous ones, it is a significantly different vehicle. So they want to be as cautious as possible, and waiting to the day with what we're seeing here gives them the best possibility for that imaging that they really want as well.
I will say this V2 of Starship looks a lot shinier.
It does.
It's prettier,
It kind of the full stack, and a lot of other people have noticed that too. It definitely looks more mature. Yeah, exactly.
I was seeing some people in the comments saying that the IFT-1 Starship looks like it was welded by Frankenstein. So it's definitely, come a long way.
Yeah, well, I guess this is like Moore's Law for Starships. IFT-1 was ancient history compared to this.
Wow. And it's crazy. I did think about IFT-1 last night this morning during the Blue Origin launch, because it was very slow to get off the pad. And even on its ascent, it seemed very slow.
Yeah, it's actually kind of in a way a good comparison when we're thinking about thrust to weight ratio between IFT-1 and the New Glenn, because IFT-1 lost several engines and they were also probably not at full power anyway. So it kind of struggled. If you remember when it lit the engines, there was so much smoke, we couldn't see it. We're like, is it lifting off? Is it not?
What's happening?
Yeah,
it felt like slow-mo.
It was. And New Glenn was just like that. I heard some other people say it, but I thought it too. At first, it looked like it was going up, and then it might be sliding. It was like, what is going on?
Almost, that was a little bit scary, but it made it to orbit.
Yeah.
So, do you think that Flight 8 will be finally orbital for Starship?
As long as what they want to do well, and they get the data, and they are able to prove they can do a deorbit burn, they can control it and keep it in the attitude that it needs for the reentry. I think that they will be confident enough with this version of ship and all the data that they have that they want to go to orbit. And I think it will be orbital. When that happens, it's going to change the dynamics of the launch here, because right now we're used to it launching, hot staging, hopefully come back and caught, and about an hour or so later, splashing down in the Indian Ocean, and then the whole thing is over.
Right.
But when it goes to orbit, now we're going to have at least 90 minutes to do one orbit. And unless they do a plane change maneuver, which is to adjust for the rotation of the Earth, because if it just does one orbit and comes back to where it started, the Earth has turned. So it won't be overhead here at Boca Chica. So they either have to do multiple orbits to get it lined back up, or they're going to have to do with some extra propellant, something called a plane change maneuver, which is to alter that orbit to correct for the rotation of the Earth to bring it back here. And if that's the case, it's going to be about 90 minutes. And then that will be really amazing, because we're also used to the booster heading off over the Gulf and then coming back from the Gulf. With the ship, it's going to be coming over Texas and Mexico, almost directly over the production site at about 10 kilometers, falling straight down towards the tower. So it's just going to be amazing to watch.
This plane change sounds almost as complicated as rocket science.
Well, it is rocket science.
That does sound very complicated.
It's orbital mechanics,
Yeah,
but yeah, anytime you try to change the orbital inclination to adjust for that, it takes a lot of delta V or a lot of propellant to do that. And it's why a lot of times they, like when they do ride shares, they actually put satellites up into a certain inclination, because it's cheaper just to go with that rather than hoping that they can get all kinds of different inclinations. And there's also a limit of how much propellant that you can take. So, we'll see how they do that. I have heard that they have plans on doing a orbital change to bring it back here after one orbit.
Well, David, thank you for the super chat, but let me know if the volume, it says my sound is bad, low volume and low fidelity. So the mic is still on. So please let me know if it sounds okay on your end. There's a lot of stuff to make sure that we're monitoring here. My dad is watching. Hello, Garth. Love, laugh, window description as red light, green light. Ever was to since Explorer 1 in 1958. Yeah, red light, green light. I'm actually referencing Squid Game, but I finally just watched Squid Game, and I get it. I see what the hype is about. But it says, looks like we sound fine. Good sound now. My dad is watching. Thank you, Dad. Sound is very good. Okay, well, good. And hopefully the views are good, because Starlink has been a little bit spotty this morning.
About 49 minutes to launch.
Less than an hour. And so this is very exciting. I do remember last time when we found out there was some issue, with the tower, and there was that divert.
You were quite bummed.
I was really sad. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're spoiled. It's like, okay, the launches are great, but now we want that catch. And I've just watched the videos so many times. I've seen different angles, and I'm so excited. Yeah. I really think it's gonna happen today. I really do.
I have a good feeling for it too, but I was thinking this is like the Olympics, whatever is. You do these routines, it's like, oh, that's cool, but now you got to change that degree of difficulty. Yeah. You need to add a few more elements.
Well, but the thing is, it's already happened.
Right.
Like, they've already done it. We just happen to not be here, and that's pretty crazy, because we are some of the most dedicated people to Starship, and so I think it's going to happen today. I have a good feeling about it. Elon Musk posted me on Twitter for the first time, so I interviewed him last time. It's my first repost, and it was a little.
Hey, wait a minute! That was your goal for 2025.
It was. So you've
already knocked that one down.
And, I mean, I want another interview. Hopefully, that'd be really cool. But yeah, he shared my little synopsis of today's launch and why I think it would go today, which means that he was probably confident in it too. And so yeah, was that?
It's just probably not sure what that is.
Is that a call?
It was, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, tell them you're live on Ellie in Space. So.
I will.
tune in. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please make sure to share the link. Really does help to have people watching the channel.
Okay, Raphael, Teslatino, this is Joe. Thank you for the notes. And I know that you're watching us on the live stream and that you just sent me that text. So there you go. So I heard you.
Which, by the way, people are saying, why aren't we reading the chat? So let me read some comments here. And where will the ship land? Same place as last time.
Essentially, in the ocean, the north part of Australia.
Okay. Do you have any more questions? I'm looking at the comments. Want to see the T0. Some people want to see the countdown. I don't know if there's any way to do that other than the SpaceX feed. Probably not.
That's going to come up in about 12 minutes, and then SpaceX will be up, and we'll bring that feed on and be able to show you. But we're currently right about 47 minutes away from the launch.
And we're looking at a what appears to be a pirate ship right now. Looks like a pirate ship. Wow. There we go. So there's our wide view of the two launch towers, as well as Starship getting ready. That is ship 33, booster 14. Here is a tight angle of it, and I think it looks pretty cool. Looks like the stream is still a little bit pixelated from the view on the iPad, so hopefully it's not too rough for you guys there at home. We are doing our best, but we are getting closer and closer.
Okay.
Let's see. So Dan of All wants to know, does the cold weather alter or modify launch procedures? I remember the cold weather launch of Challenger that fateful day and the results it had on the booster. Well, there's no humans on this one.
There's no humans, and we don't have solid rockets, and we don't have O-rings. We've had this question before, and I think for people who work out there, it would probably just not be fun to work on cold things. I personally don't like working on cold metal and valves and stuff like that. But even when it's freezing for us, like 32 degrees or 0 Celsius, from the standpoint of the ship and the cryogenics, that's like a warm day.
Yeah.
So, change a few procedures here and there, but I think really not a whole lot. And to be honest, even though it looks like we're a little bit cool here, it's actually pretty pleasant here today. Certainly by comparison to yesterday.
Yesterday was brutal. Oh my gosh. I wonder, okay, so they're going to start their stream pretty soon, right?
Right, in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
But let's see, so we're getting close. We're about doing public math here, 41 minutes away from launch, or so, 42 minutes. And that means that prop load, LOX, methane on all 4 of the stages is well underway now. All 4 of the tanks, 2 in the ship and 2 in the booster.
Awesome.
And I don't know if we have that picked up here. You can actually see with our image here, you can see a lot of the condensation kind of rolling out onto the surrounding area right now, coming from the tank farm as they continue to do that propellant loading.
And there's a lot of people gathered on the roof of the Holiday Inn. We still see people walking on the beach trying to get to Isla Blanca Park. So luckily it's not too long of a walk. Really, most of the hotels that you stay here on South Padre Island, you'll be able to walk to the beach or get there pretty easily. But do be warned that if you park there for a launch, it could take you several hours.
Yeah.
Last time I was interviewing people in the parking lot because it just was so packed.
Well, some of that I think was there was an accident on the causeway too that kind of prevented the traffic from going out. But I just thought of another thing with that question about the cold and the cryogenics and stuff. One of the other things that's new for this ship that is looking forward to how it's going to be operating in the future is that they're using vacuum jacketed lines within the ship. I meant
to bring that up.
Okay, and the whole purpose of that is to try to extend how long the cryogenics can stay at the cryogenics temperature. So if they had long duration missions, whether it's low Earth orbit up to the moon or beyond, then that would help give a lot more duration to what the ship can do while it's performing that mission. And this ship is the very first time that we've seen that addition. And in addition, and also along those lines, within the ship itself, they used to have something called like a downpipe that basically brought the methane through the center in a pipe of the tank for the oxygen, and it fed all 6 of the engines. For this ship, they have a smaller central one that does the 3 center engines, and then they have 3 individual ones that go out to each of the RVACs. And so that's a brand new design. And why would they do that? And that's because in a future iteration, there's going to be 9 engines on the Starship. So this is getting them close to being able to do that as well.
And I just popped up Raul's question, which is how far are we from the launch pad? I think we're about 6 miles.
Right at 6 miles at this particular location. If you were at Isla Blanca Park, you're about a mile closer.
5 miles. And if you're at Raptor Roost, the outpost, or I guess there's a Starship station lot now, you're about 4 miles away.
Let's call it 4.
Which is
unbelievably close.
Kind of the exclusion zone. But yeah, very close. So, you know, it's still a great view up here, but maybe someday we'll go to Raptor Roost or something. But we do love the view up here at Margaritaville. Zoomer, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate everyone who's watching, and please share the stream if you're enjoying it, because I will not always have these amazing cameras.
Yeah, just take a look at the view that you're showing right now, the amount of tank farm activity that is going on at that base of the tower. And it's nice, beautiful full stack there of ship 33 on top of 14 getting ready to launch. And, you know,
I think I might take a quick break. Do you mind talking?
I can.
Let's go to the bathroom.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't know if anybody has some questions, let me know. I'll try to read the chats. Let's see. Well, I guess I could talk about a few other things. You know, Ellie mentioned that there's 30 cameras on the ship. There's going to be a lot of external cameras, probably internal ones as well, which I don't know if we're going to see. On the last flight, we did get a chance to see inside the nose cone, and of course that banana that was being used as their 0G indicator. I don't know if we're going to get those views again this time. It would be nice because we're going to be seeing those 10 Starlink satellites deployed, at least the satellite simulators. And hopefully we have some views from the inside as they are popping out through that PEZ dispenser. And the way that they have that oriented is they have a kind of a loading mechanism on the inside of the ship. It takes 2 of the Starlinks at a time. And of course, they're stacked up on about 56 or so would be the ultimate capability. And then each one of them kind of comes down, and then they are ejected out through that payload bay, the PEZ dispenser, 2 at a time. And then they kind of ratchet down 1 more, and then 2 more would come out. So if it goes as planned, we should see 5 sets of 2 of the Starlinks deployed. And with all these cameras, we should get some great views. Also, with the combination of the cameras and with the Starlink, we should get some really nice views all the way through the reentry, the plasma development, and then hopefully with coming down in the daylight over in the Indian Ocean, we should get some really nice views of the ship coming through the clouds and getting ready for that landing burn, that flip and burn, and then a splashdown. Of course, last time we also got some great views from some of the buoys, and that was a really great perspective of what it's like for that ship to come back for the landing. And one other thing, if we get those views again, just pay attention to how that flip and burn works and how it is basically coming straight down. There'll be the lights of the engines. You'll see it flip up, and it'll kind of overcorrect and then come back to the vertical. And just look at how it translates across the water during that time. And the reason why I point that out is when they do come back for the catch, we're going to see that literally right above the tower. And you're going to see the ship kind of extend just past the tower, get itself to a vertical, and then work its way back for the catch. So what you're going to see today, hopefully if all goes well, is sort of a dress rehearsal for what we may see on the next one with the tower. In addition to that, I'm trying to look at the chat to see if there's a question. Let's see. Do rockets work better in cold or warm weather? Um, that's kind of a good question. Just the big thing to remember is that the rocket uses a lot of the atmosphere. We think about cold or warm as very close to the ground, certainly within the first, say, 6 or 7 thousand feet is what we are normally used to. But of course, the rocket goes vertically through all of the various different parts of the atmosphere, and it has to be able to work whether it's completely cold, like for example, if it's in orbit on the dark side, the shadow of the Earth, and when it's that way, it can get quite cold. And then, of course, it'll go into sunlight, and then all of a sudden it'll become extremely hot. So it has to be able to deal with conditions that we just are not used to here. The other thing that we're used to here when it's we think about hot or cold is the fact that we have an atmosphere and we can use convection to kind of change the heat and use that to cool or heat us. But when you're in space, that doesn't work because we don't have that atmosphere. And pretty much the only real way of dealing with the heat or the cold is through radiation, radiators, and radiating that heat away. If you watch the Falcon 9 second stage, you'll note that the engine belt is glowing orange. And that's because it's basically using radiation to cool it, because there's really no convection, no other way to do that. So I think the answer to your question is they have to be designed to work through a very wide range of temperatures, and much more than what we see here. What we see here with our normal temperature variations is pretty minor to what the entire envelope is for the rocket. So hopefully that helped answer a little bit about what you were asking. Are there any other questions? A couple other things while we're trying to bring up the SpaceX feed for you. This ship has got a lot more sensors, a new avionics system, and you know, in and of itself, with those new capabilities, a new star tracker capability, which is used to position itself while it's in orbit. Since they've changed a lot of that, it's going to be a lot of testing for this particular, how it all works, how it integrates together, and I think gather that data so they can make the decision on do they need to upgrade anything with that ship 34 that we mentioned and future ones, but also does it perform within the parameters that they need for us to be able to see that ship come back for the catch next time. So you know, we mentioned that ship 33 is very different, and it extends all the way to the avionics, the electronics, some of the battery systems. They have a lot more energy that is capable to be delivered to the ship on this particular flight. So that should be able to help with the electrical load and you know, ensure that all of the systems are working properly. So that's yet another one of the thousands and thousands of changes that have been made to the ship. So I think we're getting close to having that SpaceX feed coming up. Just looking at the time, we are about 34 minutes away from the liftoff. And we're getting pretty close to the time where we're going to start seeing the Raptor chill begin. And they do that because they need to cool down parts of the turbines and system of the Raptors to ensure that when the cryogenics do flow for them to work, they don't have a temperature shock, flash that cryogenics into the gaseous state. And if they do that, because of the expansion of the gaseous state and also trying to use a kind of a gas where it needs to be a liquid, it can cause problems with the engine. So they do that chill down, and that should be starting very soon.
Did you read this question out from Joe with another super chat? Are the tank gases plumes on the left methane subcoolers?
Are the tank gases plumes
on the left, probably here, right?
Okay, so if we're looking at what's on the screen and you see the kind of the white smoke that is coming up, I think that is overall just the chillers that are used. They flow liquid nitrogen through on kind of the outside of or the larger tank, and then they have pipes on the inside, and they use that to help keep that fluid to the cryogenic state that they need for the pumping it through the pipes. And I think it's both. Some of them are, or a lot of them are methane, but some of them could be oxygen as well, because they need to keep both of those cryogenic. So I think what we're seeing is those chillers or the coolers, and it's having the nitrogen come out because as they cool the methane and the oxygen, with that heat transfer, the nitrogen actually starts getting warmer, and then it starts flashing to gas. And to manage the temperature or the pressures, they need to have that escape. So we're most likely seeing nitrogen escaping into the atmosphere, and it's just back to the atmosphere that it came from, because they use atmospheric separators to bring that nitrogen back out. So it's just replenishing where it came from.
Thank you for knowing all the answers.
No problem.
To the
Hopefully that made sense, and hopefully that was helpful.
Well, we are about 30 minutes away.
Right about there.
So that is very exciting. Still have a very good feeling about today, and I'm really, really hoping that we see a catch. Let's manifest it. I manifested Elon repost overnight, so let's get another catch. The first catch of the new year, the second catch ever for Starship. Ioannis wants to know, how different is the BE4 and Raptor engines? How different are the BE4 and Raptor engines?
I think that they are pretty significantly different. They both use methane and oxygen, although with the Blue Origin, I think it's a little bit closer on the spectrum towards liquid natural gas, which is a variant of methane, or methane's a variant of liquid natural gas. That's why the color of the plumes are slightly different. But as far as the plumbing, the turbines, the method that they use, it is significantly different. The Raptors use the full flow stage combustion cycle, which is the most efficient way of taking that propellant and providing or getting thrust. And it basically is the most efficient way that you could possibly do it. But it's very technically challenging to build, and it's something that SpaceX has been working on for a long time. They continue to do that with the Raptor 3s, versus the BE4s is more of a, a moderately stressed engine. They did that on purpose because they wanted to not have to push them to the extremes that you see with the Raptor engine. So that's why they are larger. They're not quite as efficient. They do not use full flow stage combustion. I don't think they're I think they're it's escaping me what the cycle is that they use, but ultimately they're just not stressing the engines as much, and they're doing that for durability and to try to maximize their rebuild.
It's interesting that they have 7 and then Starship has 33.
Right. Well, one of that is just the size and the weight of the New Origin New Glenn.
Solid bog. Yeah. Blue Origin New Glenn.
There you
rocket.
go. Yeah, so some of it is just the mass
using.
that they're trying to do and what they want to have that delivered to low Earth orbit. And of course, Starship is much larger, much heavier, and they want to take significantly more of the payload to low Earth orbit. So, each of the Raptors, I think, produce almost as much power as one of the BE4s, but it's a smaller engine. Another advantage, I think, to having 33 of them versus the 7 is that you have more engine out capability than you do with just the 7.
Right.
You lose, one of the 7 and you're down, 18% right. or so. You lose one of the 33 and you're down just a few percent.
Which, Joe, thank you for another super chat. Another Joe. Definitely seeing frost bands on the booster and ship right now. We are getting closer and closer, 28 minutes away from the 7th launch of Starship here in South Texas. And pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're just about 9 minutes away from that Raptor chill that we talked about. And just going back, I hope I answered as much as I can off the top of my head the difference between BE4 and Raptor. But
I think you did much
better. They are very different.
Yes. And if you guys want a full video on that, I'd be happy to make one for you guys. But what about the mock diamonds last night too? Those were
on the BE4, yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's just one of the unique things that you see with the rocket exhaust, and and it's actually something that you only see low down in our atmosphere, and that's because the atmosphere is acting almost like a nozzle where it's taking the exhaust and it's pushing it back in, and those higher temperature regions are where you get the mock diamonds. And as you watch as the rocket goes up in altitude, the plume starts to expand. We have a lot less of the atmosphere, and you lose those mock diamonds because of that loss of the atmospheric pressure.
Well, I cannot wait to see a Starship launch at night. I will say I'm still getting used to the fact that Starship launches are now in the afternoon. We pulled so many early mornings that were kind of miserable. So
yeah, well, I hate to say it, but they may go back to early mornings when they start going orbital, because they won't have that need to try to land it where it's light over at the Indian Ocean.
Right, and that's part of why they changed it to the afternoon, was they wanted to have better visibility for the ship re-entry out there in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, we talked about getting the 25 launches, and it's actually 25 launches and 50 landings, because you have a landing for the booster, a landing for the ship, hopefully.
That's crazy.
But of those 25, only 3 of them can be at night. So we'll get a lot more of the day launches, which may be good.
You want to come say hi?
Come on in.
Will you? Hey, do you mind saying hi to all the peeps?
Hello, world. How are you?
You may or may not recognize John Krause, but you've probably seen his work.
Maybe, yeah. It's been a long, 36 hours. Just got in from the Cape after New Glenn.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got about 40 minutes of sleep, a little bit in the car at the airport, a little bit on the first flight.
So you're tired.
I'm very tired. I got a nap downstairs, a couple floors down for about an hour. But I went straight from the New Glenn viewing site to the airport to make it to both heavy lift vehicles launching on the same day.
That's dedication.
It's been a very stressful 10 days trying to make this work.
Oh, yeah. How many times have you had to rebook?
It's so funny. I took a screenshot. I have email filters for rental cars and airlines and all this stuff, just so it's organized. And even on my laptop with the mail window as big as the screen, you can't fit all the flight changes in one screenshot. Just the list of flight changes. So, and then my credit card statement is Southwest, Southwest, Southwest every time I move the
You're
flight.
definitely a frequent flyer.
Absolutely.
Tell us. I mean, obviously, we weren't there in person. What was it like last night or this morning?
It was incredible. It was very dim, just like Tran 1. So it's obviously it's a bigger rocket, but it's still methane. So it was only the second methane night launch from the U.S. I think there's been a Chinese rocket with methane that's launched at night, but I've been fortunate to see both. So about 2 years ago we had Relativity at night, then we had New Glenn at night. It was very slow off the pad.
Yeah.
Very
slow.
It surprised me. I know big rocket like Starship Flight 1, obviously a little slower than we would have liked off the pad, but it wasn't like that. The pad seems like it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
No big chunks of concrete flying.
That I could see, but the thrust to weight was 1.001 because it just crawled off the pad. But it was so dim. It's not like a Falcon where it's Carolox and it's sooty and flamey and burning and bright. It's like a Falcon 2 minutes into flight, but the whole time. It's a little bright at the beginning. I think it's because as you lift off, there's dirt and ice and you're kind of burning all right near the ground. But then as soon as it clears the tower, it gets remarkably faint. It turns that beautiful, almost like a purple royal blue, and it's incredible. It was remarkable.
Did that make it much harder to photograph?
Oh, it was so hard to photograph.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally hedged on all my camera settings, trying to guess, and luckily most of the stuff turned out. But I was changing everything on the fly. So.
And were you here for Flight 5?
Yeah. So part of the reason why I really wanted to make it today is because I've been to all 6. So keeping the streak alive, at least for the first 10, 12, 15, until it starts to get truly routine. But obviously, Flight 7, we're seeing a new ship upgrade. There's still changes flight to flight. I want to be here for all of them. So, yeah, I would have been bummed to miss it.
Yeah, the reuse of a Raptor engine. Hopefully another catch.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we didn't see it with 6, which it was interesting. We were kind of joking after Flight 6, we just got a launch, right? Yeah. For the first 4, that's all we had, and it was amazing. And then 5, they catch it, and there's this new normal. And then 6, they don't catch it.
Right.
And you're oh man.
You feel let down. Yeah. It was funny with Ellie. She's I'm so bummed. I'm but they still did a lot of cool things.
And you can still see it offshore.
Well, now we're spoiled.
Yeah, we're spoiled. So, hopefully we see another catch.
Yeah, and remind us, how long have you been doing photos of space?
Yeah, so my first launch, we're coming up on 10 years next month.
Wow, congratulations. Oh my gosh, and what an amazing career you've made for yourself.
Yeah. it's been a journey for sure.
Tell everyone where they can find your work.
John Kraus Photos on X and johnkrausphotos.com.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
I'm so proud that you made it.
Yeah.
Great job.
right.
Awesome. Let's get a
All right.
catch.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
John.
Enjoy.
Thanks a lot, John.
Awesome.
All right, so we're getting really close to the Raptor Chill in just a few minutes.
22 minutes
Yep.
or so away, and very exciting.
Wow.
I'm so impressed that John was able to make it here, because I was not going to try to
Yeah.
go to New Glen, and I think it would have been very frustrating, certainly, to try and make both.
Well, you know, somebody else that just made it here from New Glen is Andrew McCarthy.
Okay, he made it?
Yeah, he's setting up, I think, right now at Ilabunga Park. If you haven't seen his photography of basically space items, whether it's the moon or the planets or some of the nebula, it's
Yep.
just, he's incredible, and his work is just amazing. And for the last launch, he did kind of a unique shot of the ship taking off for the full stack. He did a series of like thousands of photos, and then he stitched them all together as like kind of a movie.
Yes.
And in that, you could actually see the Starship rotating as it takes off and it heads off over the Gulf. So it was really neat.
Yeah, no, I just some amazing photographers down here. A lot of talent actually here, and so John Kraus also takes amazing photos. Of course, Andrew McCarthy, and they were both there for New Glen.
Yep.
That is just crazy. They must be feeling like zombies.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I have a feeling that we're going to have more and more of this
Yeah.
as we start launching more and more, and as you know, Blue Origin figures out what went wrong with what went wrong, what went right for the New Glen, fix it up, and get their next one going, and then the next one going. Because you know, both Blue Origin and SpaceX are basing their business model on rapid reuse,
yeah.
and they're going to need to fly them a lot.
Yeah, I wonder how many Starship launches we'll keep going to before we say, this one maybe.
Well, you know, it's like Falcon 9 when they first started
Right.
landing, everybody, oh my God, another one! There's another launch. It
Right.
was really cool. And now it's like what, every day?
Yeah, I don't think there's an expectation for people to be at every Falcon 9. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, I even think like Marcus House is changing his coverage a little bit because he's like, I can't keep up with it all.
yeah,
He can't fit it all in his weekly upgrade.
absolutely.
So everybody's trying to figure out what is the right way to cover this in an age of space excess, which is really cool. And it's something that I've been wanting to see for a very long time. So I'm excited that this second golden age of space that we are in. And I'm also just excited about all the young people that are growing up seeing this, thinking this is just the normal, this is the way it is. And hopefully many of them will have careers in space and maybe even live and work in space. So we are in that period of time where all that's starting to happen.
And Raul, thank you for the super chat. Thank you both for all of your work. As you can see, the SpaceX stream is going, and we will be sharing that as well. But since we are also talking, we will go back to our feed. We have multiple cameras set up, but we are less than 20 minutes away now,
Yes,
which
we
is...
are. The Raptor Chill's underway. The next big milestone is about 3 minutes, 40 seconds, give or take, when the propellant loading starts to be finished up. So
Wow.
we're getting into that the last little bit before the launch will happen. So things, at least from what I can tell from the roof looking across the beach, the causeway over to the launch site, and what we're getting with some of our amazing shots here, everything's looking good right
Wow. I think we're going to see a catch.
now. I hope so. I hope so.
I think we're going to see a catch. I can feel it. Wow.
Well, you know, the best thing is we can actually see. You know, I was really worried that they were going to go for it yesterday, and I was thinking, man,
I still haven't gotten used to the fact that there's two towers now.
I know.
It's like, what the heck? You guys are just working at a breakneck pace down here. Even yesterday, we saw the transport of ship 34,
Right.
and it's just like you guys are always doing something,
Exactly.
and the work never stops down here at Starbase, which now is, I guess, going to become a city, an official
I
city.
think so. I think that whole process is definitely underway, and with the infrastructure here, we're talking about the tower, but the flame trench that they're putting in, which is a completely different design than what we see right now on the screen here. with the full stack, it'll be a completely different launch mount, a completely different flame trench and technique that they're going to use here. It looks like that's going to be duplicated over at Cape Canaveral, but that's coming along. And of course, the carriage and the chopsticks for the second tower are probably within a week or two. We're going to see that right after the launch. Assuming everything goes well, we should start seeing those being assembled at the base of the tower and putting on. So, the tower will become much more operational here very soon.
Wow. Pretty exciting, pretty crazy.
I still can't believe that what we're showing you on the screen right now is our cameras. That's amazing.
Yeah,
look at that.
I know. Looks like the service has actually improved a little bit as well. So
Okay, well,
I'm
that's a
happy
good
for
thing.
that. Looks like we have a lot more bars. And we have several viewers, so we appreciate you guys watching us live. Question, are the engines chilled on both stages?
They are.
From
Every
Mike.
time that they have to use the engines, they have to chill them down ahead of time. And what you will hear throughout the liftoff from some of the announcers with the SpaceX, and I'll try to, if I can, mention it as well. But at some point, you're going to hear Raptor chills be underway. That'll be for the first stage, or the ship itself. So that'll be happening, and depending on the views that we get, you'll actually see some of that. The kind of the vapors that are coming off of the ship through the engine chill lines from the ship, kind of trailing down the side of the full stack as they do that. So they not only do the engine chill here on the ground with the booster before the launch, they do it on the ascent on the way up, and then even in orbit before they do their deorbit burns, or in the future will we see more of that, they will do engine chill. And you think, well, it's space, it's going to be cold, whatever. And that's not completely accurate. It just depends on are you in the light of the sun? Are you not? What temperature it is? So they need to make sure that it is the proper temperature so that the engines work off correctly.
And thank you for the super chats from France Peterson. Fingers crossed for successful launch and successful catch. I'm crossing my fingers for that. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you both for your hard work, bringing us your perspective on this launch. Always a great perspective from up here at Margaritaville. And truth to a T, thank you for the generous super chat. Thank you both so much. Great new camera work, much better than what we had with the iPhone. So thank you to Scott in the background there, providing some amazing camera views. And looks like Starlink is working a little bit better now. So we are hoping that that looks good on your end. And we're about 15 minutes away from the 7th Starship flight test.
Yep,
so
that means about 12 minutes until they stop. They start saying that the tanks are full.
Yep.
So very cool. And then from there, the timelines are going to be pretty quick. We'll go into about 2 minutes, 50 seconds. The booster propellant will be complete. That will include the ship and the booster. And then we'll get hopefully the go for launch somewhere under or around 30 seconds. I do not see the planned potential hold point at 40 seconds. It's not on the timeline right now. So hopefully we'll just see the timeline countdown.
No H word, no S word.
Okay.
Just go.
Right.
But that's good. Yeah. I mean, they certainly don't have as much time as, 60 minutes was the original intended launch window, but they've done it in, 30-minute launch windows with some unforeseen things that happen. So I'm not worried about it.
Well, for a prototype, they are amazingly pretty close to going off on time. So hopefully that'll continue today.
Transparent.
Yeah, but just looking ahead real quick, after the engine's light and it lifts off, things are going to happen pretty quickly. We should see that somewhere around 2.5 minutes or so, a little bit, a few more minutes or a few more seconds after that, we'll be going to the getting ready for the hot staging. And then just 6 minutes and 30-something seconds, we're going to see hopefully the engine relight for the landing. And then at just under 7 minutes, it should be caught. So it's going to go really quickly. And then after that, since they're going to be doing some more things with the ship in its trajectory, we're going to see it about just under 9 minutes, engine shut off. At 17 minutes or so, the Starlink demonstrators being ejected, and about 37 minutes, we'll see that relight of the engine, and then in the 40-something minutes, it'll be in the reentry. So we're going to have a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely. And thank you, Dan, for another super chat. We are getting so much closer, less than 13 minutes away. And Tim wants to know any news on what caused today's 30-minute delay. Not that I know of.
I have no idea. We do know that, and I think we showed earlier, there were a lot of the Coast Guard helicopters flying quite a bit more than I had seen in the past. So maybe there was somebody in the exclusion zone. That's just a guess. I don't know. And it could also be something related to the splashdown location as well. But as far as I know, SpaceX has not mentioned what that cause was.
So maybe we'll find out after, maybe not. As long as it doesn't affect the launch, I think it's fine. And so, getting pretty close.
Yep, under 12 minutes.
Pretty amazing. And let me know how the picture is from our cameras. I can always pull up SpaceX's feed, and inevitably I will at some point, just because, we won't be able to see much here after about 10 minutes. But I would like to use our cameras, and I just want to know if it's pixelated for you guys or not. It's a little bit hard to tell from what we're looking at.
Well, one of the neat things that we have because of Scott's help is right behind us, you see these large cameras. They're going to be doing tracking shots from liftoff all the way to hot staging and all the way back. That's going to be an extreme high quality, but we won't be able to stream it, but we will have the images later on, and you'll be able to share them out. And with the power of the cameras that we have, we should get some amazing views. Okay, so we may be streaming that live, but slow-mos and that kind of stuff will have to come a little bit later for after processing.
Well, I guess I'm just wondering if it's still pixelated. I can pull up SpaceX's feed, but people are saying it's looking good on their end. So
far, so good.
Okay, good. Well then, watch our cameras.
Yeah. I think it's amazing we could say that it's your feed. It's not, we're pulling somebody else's.
And I'm really bummed he's moving. So this has been a real treat, very exciting. I did not expect to have so much help and so many amazing cameras. So it should be pretty good. This should be pretty exciting, and definitely going to be using better cameras, at least better than an iPhone in the future. Learn some lessons.
Well, speaking of cameras, I'm getting some messages from all the photographers that are getting ready to cover this. They're setting their cameras, turning them on, making sure the batteries are good. So, we're getting real close to game time, right around 10 minutes
away. And they're seemingly running an ad about Starlink on the SpaceX stream. So Starlink is, of course, a big deal. Starlink is helping us power our stream, helping us see the beautiful views of just the Starship launch. The ship has over 30 cameras, which is pretty incredible. So, that's got to be a new record for them. Not
only that, but Starlink is one of the primary ways of funding the Mars mission. So it's really important. They've got thousands and thousands of satellites up right now. The Starship is going to help with that, not only be able to launch more at once, but much more capable, much larger of the Starlinks. And I think that's going to play a big role. I mean, what are they up close to 4 million people using it now? So, and we're two of them. So it is kind of game changing what you can do with it.
Absolutely. And we are less than 10 minutes away, and looks like we have another super chat from Space Dude 42.0. Cheers to the second golden age of space.
I agree
with that. And wow, we are very close.
Under 9 minutes to go. About just under 5 minutes until we should start seeing all of the propellant loads completed. And it's just going to be amazing. Now, one of the things that's going to be kind of interesting, I think, because we have our own cameras, is that you'll be seeing almost exactly the same time as us what we're seeing live. Sometimes when we show the SpaceX feed, they're 10 seconds or so behind what we see. So this will be, I think, pretty special for your channel to be able to show it live. And of course, the views that we have are really zoomed in, so you're going to get a great shot of the initial light of the engines. And even though it happens pretty quick, if you look carefully, you're going to see like 3 rings of the engines. They start, I think, the center, and then they go to the outside, and then they go to the outer ring, or at least in various pairs of that. So there's actually several different lighting events that happen in a very short time. And then within about a second or so, make sure the health of the engines are all good, all 33, and then we'll see that liftoff. And hopefully the Pi engine will pull its weight and show what reuse is for a Raptor.
And if you're late to the stream, the Pi engine is referring to engine 314, which is the first time they're going to be reusing a Raptor.
Correct.
And so they put a little sticker of a slice of pie.
Yep.
And
well, it's also 314. So.
Right. But they like to do little stickers and funny jokes and memes. And SpaceX has a great sense of humor, and you know, I feel like makes spaceflight very fun and very approachable for the average person. And I think that's why SpaceX has such a cult following.
I think it's a model that a lot of the other commercial space should follow, because it not only brings the audience interest into the what's going on, but it also makes them feel like they're part of it. Like we're all playing a role with what's going on. And I think that's important as we continue to build out more and more of commercial space.
Absolutely. And we are less than 7 minutes away, which is pretty crazy. It's always, I feel like the first launch, you know, it moved so slow that I was kind of like, is this going to actually get off the pad? And so when it goes, I'm always a little surprised, and I guess I shouldn't be, but you know, we're still in the test phase. This is still Starship's in development, and so it's always a big victory when they're able to launch on time and have a successful launch.
Well, you know, one of the cool things is, as far as the speed of sound versus light, is we'll see it and go pretty quickly, but it's going to take about 8 seconds per mile, or about 48 seconds before it gets to us. So if all goes well, the rocket will be well into its ascent before we start hearing the sound. And in fact, with that, I'm going to set up my other camera with the sound so we can get that too.
And so we are almost 5 minutes away. Thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully you're enjoying the views from our cameras. These are actually Scott's cameras, and so this is great to have actually good cameras, and we'll be able to track the launch as it goes. So hopefully you guys enjoy it on your end there at home. And it is just a beautiful day. Yesterday was definitely not a good day to launch, so it's good that it made it to today. And we are getting very close here. So T minus about 5 minutes now. And looks like the service is better right now, which also makes me very happy. Pretty crazy. We're already at flight 7. First Starship flight of 2025. And there will be many, many more to come. So if you weren't able to make it for this launch, don't worry, because there will be many opportunities in the future. I'm not sure, you know, how many flights they'll have in 2025. Hopefully they have more than last year. They had 4 last year and then 2 the previous year. But this is very exciting as we kick off the new year in a very great way here. And so
we are very close to prop load being completed. We're just about a minute until that is done, and then after that, we're into the deep part of the countdown.
And Rex says, Ellie will see her first catch. I think so too.
I hope so.
I have a good feeling about it. So I'm crossing my fingers. You can see my fingers are crossed, and I really would love to see a catch. I just love watching the videos of that catch. And so I think the energy down here is going to be electric if that happens. It's already very exciting just to see and hear it launch. It's not just about seeing it, it's about hearing it, feeling it.
I'm glad that we have these camera views for you, because you're getting a great shot of that orbital launch mount, right where the engines are going to be lighting up here very soon. Just another thing to look forward to, about 10 seconds or so before they light the engines, you're going to see I guess the anti-detonation system, kind of like misters going off, and then very soon after that, we're going to see the water deluge system. It'll look like a giant upside down water shower head, and that will be shortly followed by lighting those engines, and then about a second or two after that, we should see it lifting off. So that's coming up extremely close to today, or to this time right now, just under 3 minutes.
But I'm going to be really paying attention to that 7 to 8 minute mark, because that's when we will, less than 10 minutes is probably when we'll be able to see the catch, assuming that happens.
Well, if all goes well, it'll be caught just under 7 minutes. So it's going to go quick.
Oh.
And in fact, max Q will be about a minute after takeoff, and hot staging at 2:40.
All right.
So we're really getting close now. It's under 2.5 minutes to go. Oh my goodness. It's just such a wonderful day for us to see this too.
Oh my gosh, compared to yesterday.
Yeah.
That would have been, going to a rocket launch and having it be foggy is a little disappointing. So this is good that they waited.
This is amazing.
And it's not too cold. It's not even too windy, so.
Okay, under 2 minutes. This is so close. Oh my goodness. Just think, this is, because they stretched the ship, this is, again, setting the record for the largest ship and a rocket ever flown.
Oh my God.
Minute and a half now. All right. Wow.
Jeez.
All right. Well, if everybody's trying to take pictures, get videos, all that, this is the time to make sure your cameras are ready to go. And just about closing in on a minute to go.
Okay, we're about a minute away.
All right, everybody's getting excited.
I hear some screams from the roofs and the balconies.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Go for launch. 58 seconds.
Woo!
All right, that was a day.
Yes!
All right, it's ignited.
Yes, let's go.
It's going.
Wow, that is quite a cloud.
Yes. All right.
Woo! Oh my God.
Looks like all 33 engines are lit.
Go V2.
All right.
Woo!
Still all 33 engines. It's definitely past the tower.
Wow.
And based on the time, we should be, and we're starting to hear that sound.
Oh my God.
All 33 still are lit.
All
right. Woo! This is it. This is beautiful. Look at that trail. The purple of the exhaust. Still, all 33 engines are lit at 11 kilometers and about 1,400 kilometers per hour.
Oh my God.
We're at max Q, maximum dynamic
video
pressure.
Is so good.
It's just looking really great right now, performing extremely well. And look, your Pi engine 314 is doing just fine.
Yeah. Proving Raptor reuse.
Amazing.
Whoa, dang, your video is rivaling SpaceX, they say.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Look at it go. I love the color, the engine's just looking straight up. It's like kind of a blue light.
Wow.
It is going up crazy fast now. We are at 3,000 kilometers an hour, 37 kilometers in altitude, passing 2 minutes, and we're getting about 30 seconds away when we're going to see that hot staging happen.
Oh, please do a catch. Please
Oh,
do a catch. Please do a catch.
We got to get the catch.
Please do
call.
a catch. I'm doing the catch dance.
All
Please do
right.
a catch. Please do a catch.
Yeah!
Still all
Yeah.
33 engines. Hot staging.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Catch!
Go for catch.
Yeah.
All right.
Please,
All
Please
6 of
catch
the Starship
Please
engines
catch
are
it.
performing correctly.
please catch it. Please catch it.
Okay, boost back. We've got 12 of the 13 lit. So as long as we can make up the performance with having that one out. It looks like the profile for the booster looks fine. It is doing the boost back. It's about 80 kilometers right now.
Everyone is saying amazing camera work, awesome
Awesome.
camera work, impressive camera work. So
Okay, so 12 of the 13 for the booster engines are going, and all 6 of the Starship engines are going. Starship at 91 kilometers, the booster is at 88, and it's now had the engines shut down for the booster boost back. So we should start seeing the hot staging ring being jettisoned very soon. Plus, from what you can see with our camera shots, we can see some of those ullage gas thrusters being used to reorient the booster to prepare for the landing. And you're going to see a series of these kind of plumes coming off of the booster. Again, those are those jets that are being used to reorient the booster. And that's going to continue for quite some time as it tries to aim back towards the launch site, get the engines in the correct orientation. And also, you should be able to see the hot staging ring coming off. And it will kind of follow along a very similar trajectory. And if all goes well, it'll splash down about 3 to 5 kilometers right off the coast. And from our perspective, we might actually be able to see that. Of course, the booster, if all goes well, will continue back to the tower.
do you think it's going to happen?
I hope so. I hope so.
Please, please.
It's still go for catch. So here we go.
Please, please.
The booster is almost directly above us right now.
Whoa.
Very cool.
Oh
Of course,
my
those
God.
thrusters make it easier to locate because it's still quite high in the atmosphere, about 66 kilometers. The ship is continuing on with 6 lit engines. It's at 120 kilometers at 8,600 kilometers per hour. So it still has about 19,000 kilometers an hour to go to get to that orbital velocity, or at least the near orbital velocity. It's right there. Okay, the booster's getting close to the plume of the exhaust from the liftoff. We can also see the hot staging ring kind of coming down. Right now, the booster is going through the clouds. That's those clouds.
Oh my God!
All right, here it comes. We're getting some of that heating.
Oh my God.
That's friction heating because of the atmosphere, the tail end of the ship or the booster.
Kinda
And so
looks
the
fast.
engines are not lit yet, but it is coming down quite
It looks
quickly.
really fast.
It's coming
Like,
very, very
really
fast.
fast. Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Oh my
there's
God.
a shock wave, and we should see the engines very soon.
Dude, that looks
Come
really
on,
fast.
where's the engines? There's the
That
lights.
looks really fast.
Slow
Oh
it
my God, oh
down.
my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Awesome. All right.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
That's maneuvering over towards the
Dude,
chopsticks.
what the
It's coming down.
hell is this real?
It's coming in. It's coming in. Awesome! Awesome!
Oh my God!
It actually looks really good on the chopsticks.
Okay,
And
that was-
unlike 5.5, we don't even have any of the flames around the booster as well. That was the most incredible thing. That was awesome. I just want to remind everybody that the ship is continuing to fly too.
feel that in my leg.
That was amazing. The sonic boom was incredible.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible.
Whoa.
Oh, we just heard the hot staging ring hit the water. That was awesome.
Wow.
That looked amazingly clean. And just a reminder, the ship is continuing. Still, all 6 of the engines are lit. It's at 17,000 kilometers per hour now, so about 10,000 more until it gets to its near orbital velocity. And you know, the fun is not over yet, because once it shuts down, we're going to start getting ready for the Starlink demos.
Oh, I like felt that in my legs.
Oh, did you?
No, like really.
Really?
Yeah.
You okay?
I don't know how that would happen.
Maybe it's your titanium rod picking up
Would that be a thing?
I don't know.
Do you feel it in your? Dude,
That was very powerful. That
did
was
you
awesome.
Feel it too?
That was awesome.
Well done. Well done.
Okay,
Like my
so
legs feel like really weird.
the booster looks like it did extremely well. It's in better shape than I think that we saw with the Flight 5 and the catch. So that's amazing. And as psyched as we are for the catch, and it's just amazing for me to look across the causeway and we are seeing the booster hanging from the chopsticks, which is amazing. The ship itself is continuing on, and okay, I don't know.
Okay.
There may be.
We're going to be able to do some slow-mo playback in just a moment here.
Okay, there may be a problem with the ship. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's something happened with the ship. It looks like, at least the telemetry is showing that 5 of the 6 engines have shut down, and the velocity is stopped at 21,300 kilometers per hour. If that's the case, then either it's a telemetry issue or there's something that's happened to the ship. So that's something that trying to track down right now. I think SpaceX is trying to figure that out as well. So certainly the telemetry for the ship has stopped. So perhaps we got the catch today, but perhaps there was some issue with the ship. So stay tuned. We're going to try to figure out what exactly is going on. But for that catch was just absolutely incredible. Yeah, so I don't know if we're getting much update right now from SpaceX of what is going on with the ship, and I don't know if you have the SpaceX feed, but it looks like they're trying to figure it out as well.
Well, right now we're playing some beautiful slow-mo playback of that catch that we just saw, which, oh my gosh, that thing was coming in hot. I was getting a little bit worried about that. And wow, it really is IRL. That was absolutely incredible. You hear a lot of noise when it launches, but that sonic boom was something else. I mean, it scared the you-know-what out of me. Honestly, I actually... What was that? Okay, great. Felt it in my leg, oddly enough. I have a new titanium rod in my leg, and that actually sent a lot of weird sensations on my leg. But anyway. Wow. And this is our cameras, by the way. We've had some people say our feed is better than SpaceX, so and that you need to work for SpaceX, so maybe you won't be moving. Yeah, Elon, call Scott Balcom here, and we're so glad that you were able to see this, and here it is in slow-mo. What you just saw, what you just heard, just incredible. Absolutely. I mean, I just saw it in person, and I still almost can't believe it's real. It is so incredible. Look at the slow motion. It was coming in hot, and then it was still able to just have a beautiful catch. So I guess my catch stance worked. That's right, Jim. My catch stance worked, And we have the first catch of 2025, the second ever catch of a Starship booster. So lucky number 5 and 7 flights, and sounds like this will be a pretty routine thing. But just look at how incredible this looks in slow motion. Wow. Are you guys seeing this? This is just blowing my mind. Look at that. Look at that.
You also notice it's on a little bit of a different trajectory into the catch, and that was intentional. They wanted to do it a little bit more aggressive on this one than they did on the last Flight 5.
And so what do we have right now with this ship?
It looks like there's some sort of anomaly with the ship. They're trying to figure out what exactly happened, but somewhere around 21,000 kilometers an hour at about 146 or so kilometers. It looks like at least 5 of the engines shut down. The telemetry is stopped, and they're not getting any more updates right now. So my guess is
that's probably done.
They probably lost the ship.
Probably lost the ship. Okay. Well, we will continue to wait for an update from SpaceX. Remember, we're only about 13 minutes almost into the 7th flight of Starship. So we had a very successful catch of the booster, which was it just me thinking that looked like it was coming in very fast?
Well, that's the thing is it comes in very, very fast.
Like
and
literally
at the very last second it lights those engines.
That was incredible.
That's one of the things where if you look at the physics of it, you talk about what is needed and to minimize the propellant use and what your propellant load should be and how it's going to work, is that that you need to do it at the last second. Mm-hmm. But then when you see it for real life, it's like, oh my God, that is so fast. But yeah.
Wow. Well, SpaceX on their feed has just a shot of the booster right now in the tower chopsticks, but we are replaying the slow-mo version of that catch. So hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing that again as we await more information from SpaceX. I have to say, selfishly, I'm really glad that they had a catch, but I'm sure that it is unfortunate for them to not be able to carry out everything that they wanted to with the ship.
Yeah, well, the ship was kind of, we were talking about before, that's sort of the important part of what they really wanted to get out of this, is the heat shield, the reentry, the new flaps.
Oh my gosh, it's cold.
I think it's hard to know for sure with the information that we have what exactly happened. It either maybe there was a problem with the tanks or something with the engines. That maybe they did the FTS. But one of the things I would like to just remind you is that the design of the ship is very different. The downcomers or the downpipes that bring the methane through the oxygen tank to the engines is very different on this particular ship than all of the first generation ones. So maybe there's something that was related to that. Again, this is all speculation because we really just don't know. And I think, SpaceX probably knows at this point, but the announcers are at least trying to figure out what they can say.
And so right now we're playing a replay of the launch in slow motion. So hopefully you guys enjoy that too. Just incredible. I really hope that if you have not seen a Starship launch yet in person, that you were able to make it down here at some point. Amazing for the folks who came straight from New Glenn all the way from Florida to Texas and were able to make it here in very, very short order. And so we are still waiting to get confirmation about what happened with the ship. We're thinking that it's lost, but we will let you know. We are still waiting to hear what happened. And so we don't have confirmation yet, correct?
Yes, we do. They have now confirmed that the ship has been lost, that they started seeing some of the engines drop off, and then shortly after that, they lost the telemetry. Again, they didn't specify if they did the FTS or not, but even the announcers are kind of speculating on what I was just saying. It's a new ship, a new design with the downpipes to direct the methane to the ships. So there may be something that was related to that happened during the launch. It got to about 21,000 kilometers, so 3/4 of the way to orbit.
Wow. Oh, that's kind of sad. But I'm really glad they caught it.
Yeah.
Like I said, selfishly, I'm really glad they caught it.
Well, I mean, one time is kind of, is it lucky? Was it just a fluke?
Yeah.
They've done it twice, and they probably could have done it on the last one too if it wasn't for the tower itself.
Right.
So the ability to reuse the booster has not been proven, but it's definitely indicating that it is something that they can do. And we talked about this one was reusing a Raptor from the previous catch. So now that they have it back and they have another booster that has been caught, maybe we'll start seeing more of the parts of the ship, maybe more of the engines reused for the next flight. So still a lot of good things that they got out of here, but I think unfortunately the ship was kind of the big thing, is that they really wanted to get data from.
I know, it's weird. Usually we're streaming for much longer, but I guess now we probably could.
Probably, yeah. As far as I know, one of the questions people are going to have is, well, since it's been caught, is the roads going to be open? Can you go out? Can you take a look at it? My guess is it's going to take several hours, and the reason why is, first, they need to make sure they safe the booster. So there's still some cryogenics in the tanks that they need to take care of that. There is still a flight termination system on the booster. Even if it has been deactivated, it is still on the booster. They also need to get it down and to the orbital launch mount. Probably, if everything goes well, hook up that the booster quick disconnect and then use that to manage the cryogenics. So my guess is it's going to be, they probably won't open the beach until tomorrow is my guess.
Okay.
That's a guess.
Well, we'll be down here for the rest of the day. So I definitely want to make a highlight video of all of this. So I think, at some point.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to say a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think we're.
Yeah, I think the booster, certainly they got all the data and they proved that through.
That was, I mean.
That was amazing.
It literally, it's like, how did that happen? It still doesn't even feel real.
I know, especially since it happened so quickly.
I was like, no, it's coming in way too hot. Right. It's way too fast. It's way too fast. Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look even that fast to me in the videos. It looks faster in real life.
Oh, this thing was booking.
And that's, I'm telling you, like, I don't mean to go on about my leg, but I have never felt my titanium rod until right now with that sonic boom. That's why I ducked. It felt like a tingling, shooting pain. It scared me. Honestly, it kind of hurt.
Caught you off by surprise.
Well, but I wonder if there's something going on with the sonic boom and the metal.
Maybe just the right frequency.
It's just
I don't
very
know.
odd. Yeah. Not a great feeling, but extremely loud. The launch is loud and the sound is delayed, but the sonic boom, I was not prepared for that. You see videos of it and like you think you know what it's going to feel like. No, that shit's scary.
Yeah,
okay?
It was amazingly loud, and it's actually it's really 3 sonic booms, all really in fast succession. And because of the distance that we are, it kind of hit us about when the catch was happening. So pretty bizarre. But as far as anything else at this point, I'm just not sure what else we can add to it.
I think that we're going to wrap up because I do want to get a highlight video out as soon as possible. So thank you everyone who is watching. What an amazing, at least, half of the launch. And we'll give you more details. SpaceX is usually really good and transparent about putting out, new information. So I'm going to be making a highlight video with this amazing footage that we have, courtesy of Scott Balcom. If you want to, I guess the mics people say are clipping, but oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to shout you out for your amazing camera work that people do absolutely love. If you want to say anything.
Hi.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're interested in filmmaking of any kind, I have a YouTube channel for basically Scott Balcom. That's it. But it was a pleasure. This is great.
Dude, they said that your feed was like better than everyone. So
super chat Ellie so she can buy some gear and get some really good stuff.
How soon can we get this video out, or at least one version of it?
It's going to be a little bit. We're going to have to selectively pull and then convert because everything was shot in 8K RAW, so it's It's a lot of data.
Okay.
It's like a terabyte of footage on each camera.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Cool. Well, then we'll get to work on that. And
Claim the best t-shirt guy out
yeah, here's my t-shirt designer, Scott Carr, who's also amazing. And actually, I have this X hoodie. We have this SpaceX design. So we will be reopening my merch store on Monday. And yeah, we've had quite the crew today. And so trust me, if you weren't able to see a perfect image because of Starlink, the replay that I'm going to have in my highlight video will definitely do this launch justice. So
Apparently there's some people over near the Caribbean that observed the breakup of the ship.
wow. Okay.
I don't have any video or pictures of it, but I just
Yeah,
saw
how
a
do
text
we,
that came
maybe,
out.
let me just look really quickly.
But yeah, I think you know, everything is good as far as getting data. So they're going to figure out what exactly happened and whether it's characteristic of the new ship or not. So.
And I'm going to put the name of the photographer in the chat. People are saying we didn't catch his name, but go follow his channel if you want to learn about how to make amazing video, because truly this was nuts.
Santa Claus.
I mean, it's just truly incredible. And so I'm just going to see really quickly if I can find any video of that. And then otherwise, I think I gotta make some. Oh, here we go. So we have a little video of it. So I'm going to share something with you guys right now. So we were able to find some video of it breaking up over Turks and Caicos, apparently.
Hopefully I got
And
all the
so
sound.
here
That's
is
gonna be
some video.
impressive.
Hopefully you guys are able to see it.
How was your
But this is the ship breaking up. So breaking news, we're just seeing this right now. And this is
yes.
pretty crazy. This is the ship. This is why we are not going to, yeah, so that's incredible. And thank you to whoever posted that on X so quickly. But looks like I need to rush to make a highlight video because there's a lot to update. So unfortunate for the ship. Really great to see the booster be caught. But there will be many more launches and a lot of lessons, I'm sure, with this one. Pretty incredible. Yeah, there you go. So please make sure to watch my highlight video because you will see everything that we shot in perfect resolution. Thank you guys so much for watching our live stream. Thank you to Joe, as always. Joe Tagmeyer, check out his channel. He's the brains behind the operation. I'm the cheerleader, I suppose. I'm getting a little better at this stuff, but thank you so much. And I'll be putting out a recap very shortly.